And now, GroupCollect presents GroupCollect, the podcast. All right, everybody, and welcome to GroupCollect, the podcast. It is your host, Eric Young. I'm the brand development manager here at GroupCollect. Let's go around the horn and say hello to everybody. Who's up next? How about you, Kathleen?
Hello, everyone. I am Kathleen Lyles, the account manager here at GroupCollect.
And I'm Ryan Kramer. I'm the Associate Product Manager here at GroupCollect.
Yes, indeed. You may remember us from our one other episode. We are back, and we have a very exciting list of topics to talk about today. So let's just get right into it. Kathleen, one of the first things that we wanted to talk about is an upcoming development in the GroupCollect Register system that we are referring to as account notes. We talked about it a little bit in our event last week, the Collectines Day live Zoom event. Can you tell all of the listeners what are account notes and why they should be looking forward to them?
Absolutely. So you currently have a passenger notes and a trip notes feature, but an account note I feel would be beneficial because you can have the notes attached to an email address that is the account holder. And if you have a traveler who travels with you consecutively year after year, or they have multiple kids on different trips, and you need to make a note back to that specific family, you can do that for the account notes. Or if you have someone who needs, say, a wheelchair or special accommodations that you want to make sure you have a note that just kind of sticks with them in the system and follows them around, then you can definitely use an account note for that.
Very cool. A note for an account holder that persists between trips. Is that an accurate portrayal of what we've got going on?
Correct. Yes, absolutely. It follows the email address.
Right. Where in the system are people going to be able to see account notes when it materializes?
They will see it on the passenger party details page. It will be listed down below the payment timeline. It will be account notes right above your passenger notes.
That rocks. And hopefully everybody is going to love to see it. With that, everybody, we're going to take a short break. And afterwards, we are going to be talking about the conference that was ABA Marketplace that took place last month in Philadelphia. And so stick around as we recap that wonderful event. All right, everyone, and we're back. So, Ryan, we had the GroupCollect team at ABA Marketplace in Philadelphia. It was kind of between the end of January and early February. Real quick, what are your hot takes on how that event went?
Well, do you want to hear my hot takes or my hot tubs? Because they intersect with each other quite a little bit there.
Can you give hot takes from a hot tub?
You know what? Not to get too far ahead of it, but one lucky winner will be able to give their hot take from a hot tub. In all seriousness, though, just like personally, professionally, like us as a group at GroupCollect, it was just a fantastic time connecting with each other, connecting with all of you listeners, connecting with new folks in the industry, folks who have been in the industry who have not gotten the chance to connect with yet. Just it's such a humbling but exciting reminder walking onto that show floor and just seeing how many people are there, how many people care so deeply about this industry and about the mission that we try to fulfill here from so many different angles. One highlight was being able to sponsor a series of videos, Eric, that you did such an incredible job putting together, and that you and I spent quite a bit of time sitting in a hot room in St. Augustine putting together, but it was well worth it because every interview appointment session was preceded by a nice segment in the Ballad of Budlington Geisler, the estranged, ashamed colonial operator. It is cool being part of Budlington's crew. Let me tell you right now,
For
when
sure, for
they're like,
sure.
"You with that guy?" It's like, "Sure am." Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was a great time, and kudos to you, sir, on your great work there.
Man, I appreciate it. I'm glad that people seem to enjoy the videos. If you want to see and experience what Ryan is talking about, just search for Group Collect on YouTube. That would be your best bet. And there is a playlist there entitled The Ballad of Budlington Geisler. These were videos that played on the show floor twice a day, every day at ABA Marketplace. And yeah, it was wild, but it was our wacky way of trying to, gain a little bit of traction and attention for Group Collect platforms, as is our want. We
Yeah.
did also want to promote that we are going to be debuting our very first guest on the show, and his name was Mr. Brian Jewell of the Group Travel Leader. We have an excellent interview segment with him. You'll learn all about who he is, his background in the industry, what is the group travel leader, and the variety of ways that they can benefit tour operators. And so, with that, let's get into our conversation with Mr. Brian Jewell. All right, everybody, welcome to our first interview segment here on Group Collect, the podcast. We would like to welcome our guest today, Mr. Brian Jewell. Say hello to everyone, Mr. Brian Jewell.
Hey, everybody. Great to be here. Enjoy being with you, Eric.
So, Brian, if you can tell us about yourself and what your background is in the world of group travel.
Yeah, well, I am the VP and executive editor at the Group Travel Leader, which is a publishing company. We started, if you can believe it, almost 35 years ago as a newspaper format. Like for years, we referred to ourselves as the Group Travel newspaper. It was that sort of tabloid size that you used to see in the supermarket, like, kind of oversized. Over the years, we evolved into more of a magazine format, which is what we do now. And then, of course, all the media that comes along with being a publisher in the 21st century. So we have websites, e-newsletters, podcasts, live events, et cetera, et cetera. So we're pretty busy. I came into the industry, joined the company in 2003. I had just graduated college,
Wow.
had some fantastic experiences as a student, student travel experiences, like the middle school trip to Washington, D.C. that everybody does, study abroad in college, which was, as life-changing as everybody says it is. And so when I found an opportunity to be involved in travel full-time, as my first job out of college, I said, where do I sign? Like, this sounds too good to be true. And that was over 20 years ago, going on 22 years ago now. And I'm still with the company. And of course, my role has evolved and stuff over the years, but I absolutely love this industry and count myself blessed every day to, get to make my career doing this kind of work.
Wow. So, first job out of college, you are still in that career and field to this day. It's like marrying your high school sweetheart, isn't it?
It really is. I never thought about it that way. It's like when I first started, I had this sort of imposter syndrome. I remember going on my first trip, and the CVB that was hosting me, put me up in like a suite in the hotel, and there was like a gift basket, and I walked in, and I literally called my dad and said, Dad, they've got the wrong guy. Like, I'm so afraid I'm going to get found out, that they're going to realize, he's not a real journalist. He's faking it. And so it took me a couple years to get over that imposter syndrome. But then I realized, like, every year there's 5 amazing trips I get to go on, at least. And of course, life changed. I got married, I had kids. So I don't do that sort of adventurous travel as much, but it's still an industry I love. And, when you're in love, you don't think about other people. And so that's a great apt analogy for my relationship with tourism for sure.
Well, that rocks. And I can't say, for someone who is in the industry and the same space along with you, I feel the same. I happened upon it in a different way, but it's like once you have a drink of the Kool-Aid, I guess, for another analogy. Um, I'm sold and love in the space that we're working in. You had talked about how the group travel leader has all of these publications and has evolved through these forms of media over the year. It seems like that what's at the core of that has always been helping tour operators and group travel leaders. Can you speak a little bit more about that? Like, how does the group travel leader today continue to accomplish that mission?
Yeah, absolutely. So we know that as a tour operator or as a travel planner, you have 1,000 plates that you're trying to keep spinning all at once. You've got upcoming trips, you're putting together rooming lists, you're trying to collect payments, you're trying to pay your vendors, you got to hire tour directors and guides. You're running a business that affects a lot of customers. You're thinking about marketing. It's just so much to do. One of the things you may not have a lot of time to do is to go out and do a ton of destination research. Unearth what are the hot new places? Where should I be thinking about trying to launch a new tour? Where should I be taking my people next? Or, I've done Nashville a half a dozen times. My usual itinerary is starting to feel a little bit tired. But to revamp it and unearth new things, that's going to take time that most tour operators really don't have. So what we want to do is serve them on a monthly or bi-monthly basis, however they choose to interact with our content, serve them that kind of research done by travel professionals in a way that is easy to get into, that's engaging, that really gives them some active intelligence that they can really use, so they can stay on top of their field and they can innovate in their products and they can find new destinations because we do the work for them and they don't have to worry about doing it themselves. That's what we're all about.
Oh, that's fantastic. And let me ask you this, for someone who is listening right now, who is a tour operator of any given size,
Mhm.
what would you suggest be their method of entry? What's the best way that they could start to become a part of the group travel leader universe and interact with your content?
Yeah, sure. Well, one of the things that I'm super proud of is that every single thing we publish is free to the user. So
Nice.
if you're a tour operator, we're never going to ask you for money. We're never going to ask you to subscribe. We don't put articles behind a paywall or anything like that. We are here to serve you. We're supported by our advertisers and sponsors, which is how we make it work. But I'm super proud of being able to offer this stuff free to the travel trade. The best way to start interacting with us is to come to a special landing page we have on our website. It's called the Start Here page. Really obvious. GroupTravelLeader.com/start. When you go there, it's going to give you an overview of the different ways you can interact with us. It's going to give you options to see some of our most helpful, like practical tips articles, some of the best podcast episodes that we've done that are going to help you, level up your business in the next 30 days. Opportunities for some familiarization tours that we help facilitate. Ways that you can subscribe in print, subscribe to the e-newsletter, subscribe even via SMS to some text message updates. So that's a great way to sort of get the lay of the land of what we do and then figure out which way you want to interact with us. It doesn't matter to me. We'd love for you to read the print magazine, but if you're more of an e-newsletter person, that's all good. We've got you covered there as well.
Awesome. So that's the buffet that you can walk people to,
Exactly.
and at that point you choose your own adventure.
Yep.
Love it. You mentioned the podcast, and here we are podcasting on Group Collect the podcast. So, can you tell us a little bit about your show, which I've been listening to for the past couple weeks, ever since I've been introduced to you? Really enjoying it so far. It's called Gather and Go.
Yeah.
And Can you talk to us a little bit about how long y'all have been doing the show and what sort of value that provides for tour operators as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So we started it in May of 2022. So we're coming up before you know it on our 3-year anniversary. And the idea for the show was really came from the conversations I was having when I interviewed people for print magazine articles. I would get to talk to all kinds of great thought leaders, innovators, people in tourism, book half an hour with them, have a great 30-minute phone conversation. And then when I put the article together, I would end up quoting 3 or 4 sentences of what they said.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Mm-hmm.
just the nature of the written word and short form journalism, and you can only do so much. But I was just thinking, man, there was so much good value in this conversation that the world will never hear. And that's when I sort of realized, like, maybe there's an opportunity to capture these conversations in a live format, and put them out there and let people in our audience get to know these hundreds of amazing people that I know in tourism. Like I said, the thought leaders, the innovators, people who have really pioneered, broken new ground, come up with cool ideas. So that was the impetus. And then we started saying, okay, how do we make this something that is really valuable to the tour operator? Because again, we know you are stretched for time. We know you've got more than you can do. So in addition to, a good half-hour interview with somebody that you really want to learn from, we added some segments like travel news you may have missed, because we know you don't have time to read the travel trades every day, every week. So we go and find that news for you. We have some road tips about some simple things you can do on each trip to, lower the stress level and be more successful. I do a little hot minute rant at the end of every episode. That's kind of fun for me to just get to vent about, what I think about some current event that's impacting travel. And the main focus is we really want to serve that travel entrepreneur, that the solopreneur, the mom and pop company, or somebody who has a level of responsibility at a bigger organization to plan better trips, promote better trips, lead better trips, and become a more profitable company. So everything we do is focused on serving people and helping them achieve those goals.
Awesome. Yeah, it sounds like it's still right in line with everything else that the Group Travel Leader has been doing for decades. It's just in a new medium, and thank goodness streaming audio and having this stuff pumped into your ears has become so easy over
Yeah,
the last couple of decades, because now a ton of people are uh, consuming information this way, as it turns out. So you guys have been
yeah,
right there. That's great.
yeah, yeah. It's been a lot of fun.
So I told you I was going to surprise you with one question in this interview.
Hmm.
What I am interested in knowing is, because of the amount of research and value that you provide for tour operators and travel planners, we were mentioning how the Group Travel Leader and Group Collect have so much of an intersection, and we are consider ourselves in group travel planning tech, right?
Hmm.
So, in all of the research that you have done and the evolution of the industry that you have witnessed, what do you feel is one of the biggest opportunities for tour operators in terms of group travel planning technology? What is there something that you have been seeing that you're like, this is a real this is something that I can see is kind of a deficit of travel planners across the board. If only they could do X, Y, and Z in terms of their tech. Have you seen any trends like that?
Yeah, I have. And if I had to put it in one word, it would be automation.
Mm,
The most sophisticated tour companies that I talk to have figured out how to automate so much of the back office work. I'm talking end to end, from the first time someone interacts with one of your ads, wherever it might be, Google, Facebook, something like that, through the sales funnel of them coming into your website, capturing their contact information as a lead, getting them into your sales process, shepherding that relationship to the point that they're going to click the buy now button on some product, some tour, and then what happens after that, in terms of the tour company collecting the information they need from the client in order to get them registered for the tour, and what the payment process looks like in terms of installments, or deposit, installments, final payment, that sort of thing. Then rolling on to communications, pre-trip communications, what you need to know for this trip, and even into the post-trip surveying, social media, relationship nurturing, and rolling those people into another purchase. The most sophisticated companies in the world do that kind of thing with an incredible amount of automation.
hmm
And for a solopreneur or a mom and pop tour company, it's staggering to think about, where do I begin automating that kind of thing? And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's necessarily easy. What I would tell you is it's worth spending some time on, or maybe spending some cash on, to hire a consultant. The good news is it's not going to be, $10 or $20,000 to automate many of these things. What you really find is, two or three core tools. So you've got Group Collect for payment, and increasingly for research and vendor relationships. You want to have a great blast email system like a MailChimp or Constant Contact or something like that that allows you to do automated campaigns. A great website building tool, and you kind of stack these things together. You might use an app like Zapier that helps you connect one thing to another. And if
Hmm.
you do it right, and it takes some testing and some trial and error, but if you do it right, you can set up a system where from the first time somebody interacts with your brand all the way to when they click buy now, there's virtually no human interaction that has to go on to nurture them through that process. And you can also set it up to, from the time they press buy now to the time they receive their final documents before the trip, there's very, very little human interaction that has to go on in that process. You can even hook up, that website that's collecting people's information. You can hook it up to your rooming list system, to your tour director system to automatically generate rosters and contact information for your tour directors. I mean, the possibilities are almost limitless. And so what I feel like the opportunity is for that small to mid-sized tour company to vastly increase the amount of time they have to build better product, research product, build relationships with group leaders or decision makers, or maybe even just have some time. Go play a round of golf, go spend an afternoon with your grandkids because you didn't have
Stop
to
it.
spend that afternoon.
Really?
Can you
Right.
believe it? Yeah. So big opportunity. There is some upfront investment. It's not as much as you think, and if you get it right, it could really revolutionize your business.
Awesome. Awesome. Really, a lot to unpack there. And
Yeah.
I want to ask so many follow-up questions. I'm going to have to resist the urge, right, Ryan? Um, but one thing I will comment on is you all heard at the beginning of the question, this was something that we did not discuss beforehand. Glad to hear you mention Group Collect in that
Yeah.
little tech stack response.
Yeah, for sure.
Raw and unfiltered. But no, that's what I really wanted to I wanted to hear what your honest reaction was to that. And as you're replying, I'm thinking to myself, why do you think it is that more people don't venture into that? And I think you touched upon it, that it's a question of, oh my gosh, how would I even start? Or maybe where to
Yeah.
start. And if I'm hearing you correct, there is sort of a divide and conquer approach that can be taken by the solopreneurs or the mom and pops, where it's like, don't try to jump into the deep end with all this, but maybe try to automate one component of your business. Am I picking up on that correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. So a great pain point that obviously Group Collect really helps with is payment processing, right?
Hmm.
If you're still trying to have everybody send you checks every month, number one, stop that. That was out of date 20 years ago. But if
Can't
you're,
stress that enough.
yeah, but if you're sitting there entering people's payments into a spreadsheet, or God forbid, writing it down somewhere by hand, that is low value work that can be easily automated. So you start with a tool like Group Collect that has that all put together for you. They're going to send out, the payment reminders and, past due notices, whatever that is. It's hopefully you set it up so that it syncs with your accounting system, syncs with your bank account, with your payment card. So it's going to take some time to set up, right? Like there's a few hours invested in, onboarding, starting the relationship, configuring it. But once you do that, it's going to save you so many hours on the back
Hmm.
end. And that's just one part of the business. So what I would recommend is exactly like you said, find the one area of the business where you're experiencing the most pain, where
Hmm.
you're tying up too much of your time in low value work. Figure out how to automate that. And by automate, I'm not saying, we're out to eliminate good jobs, for people on your team. I'm saying that the stuff that just is bogging your team down, bogging you
Right.
down, automate that stuff. And then once you get a feel for how it works, how it's really just a bunch of connecting dots. Like I got to connect, cable A to cable B. And if I plug them in the right way online, information passes seamlessly through them, and it's magic. And once you start to think that way, to figure out information flow across different technology systems, your brain will start saying, oh yeah, I bet I could hook up my email to my CRM. I bet I could hook up my CRM to my payment processor. I bet I can hook up this to that, to that, to that. And over time, you become more confident. You build out that tech stack, and yeah, it's magic. It's a game changer.
Totally agree. It does seem like wizardry when it actually happens successfully.
Yeah.
And you raise a very interesting point there when you had mentioned, I don't know how widespread of a concern this might be, but when people hear automation, maybe there is this like implication of, oh, this is going to be taking away jobs. And I feel more in line with how you described it of like, it doesn't necessarily mean that. And in fact, what it could mean is that good, talented people that you have or want to hire can be doing these higher order thinking jobs where they are
Yes.
establishing great relationships. They're doing this creative research that is not able to be done by some form of automation. And oftentimes, those jobs are just so much more gratifying and rewarding anyway than doing something remedial and repetitive, right?
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you want to retain talent. I mean, you can
Yeah.
probably hire a 22-year-old to, enter payment details into an Excel sheet, but if they are a talented and ambitious person, you're not going to keep them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you want to keep them, free them up to do something creative, something where they feel like they get to make a contribution to your company, make a mark on the travel industry.
Right.
They'll get a taste for that. They're much more likely to stick around.
Right. Or again, if we're talking about the pro travel operation that is two or three people, how would you feel about doing those kind of things, right? Like with your time, where you're being able to be creative and do research and do more things that are in line with the love of travel and group travel that probably brought you to this industry in the first place.
That's exactly the thing. Nobody gets into this industry because they love back office operations.
Right, right.
Nobody. They get into the industry because they love travel and they love people.
Yeah.
That's what group travel is. It's travel and people. So the further you get into, the nuts and bolts of having to not just run a business, but, manage an information flow, manage systems, the more removed you are from the thing that probably attracted you to travel in the first place.
It's a fantastic point, and to bring it all back full circle, the one word was automation. So definitely something to keep in mind and look for as the group travel leader continues to roll out content on the subject matter, and Group Collect continues to roll out platforms that do it, because
Yeah.
that is what I feel where our beautiful intersection of missions are as our respective organizations.
Yeah.
With that, I wanted to talk about one more thing that Group Travel Leader does that a Group Collect does not, but we are fascinated in, and we believe that it provides a lot of value for the tour operators that tend to use our platforms, and that is the FAM tour opportunities.
Yeah.
So we were lucky enough to feature you as a speaker in our event this month, the Collectines Day live Zoom event, and you had spoken about a FAM tour. And somebody that was in attendance that is new to this industry asked us in the chat, what is a FAM tour? So why don't you go ahead and start by explaining the answer to that question to anyone who might not know, and then talk a little bit about some of the opportunities that you guys have coming down the pipeline.
Yeah, absolutely. So FAM is industry shorthand for familiarization, which is a word that you probably don't use very much in your everyday life, but it basically means a way to get familiar with something. Destinations, well, everywhere, destination marketers everywhere understand that the best way to sell you on themselves as a destination for your trips is to get you there in person. And so, for years and years and years, destinations have offered familiarization tours where they say, hey, come to Orlando, come to Boston, come to Lexington. Let us host you for 3 or 4 days. We're going to show you around. We're going to take you to some great restaurants. We're going to let you see the hotels that are probably the best bet for your kinds of groups. We're going to go visit all the attractions. Not only are we going to visit them, but we're going to meet the group salespeople at those attractions. So you can ask all your detailed questions about group rates and bus parking and itinerary flow. And when you leave, you're going to have that person's email address or you're going to have their contact information, sent to you digitally after the fact so that you know exactly who to call to arrange your group trip. So you're not in that situation where you're trying to find a hotel and you can't get anybody to call you back. So that's been an important part of group travel for a long time. And many destinations, of course, are happy to bring out a tour operator on an individual FAM tour. That's something we encourage people to do. But we've also found there's value in tour operators going on group FAM tours together, in part because you're actually replicating the group travel experience. Usually, FAM groups travel on a motor coach, just like their actual customers will in a group. There's an itinerary for that FAM group tour that kind of, mimics what a group can and can't do in a day. You get to see, well, how many people can this one docent really tour through the museum at once before the tour falls apart? So probably about 10 years ago, we had some destination clients that asked us to help them facilitate a FAM tour. It was just they were too busy, they had too many things going on. It wasn't their core competency. And we had participated in many of those kinds of tours as journalists. And so we said, yeah, we can help you with that. And so it turned into this wonderful part of our product offering where destinations around the country every year kind of partner with us to invite our readers to join them on FAM tours. We go along on the tours, we capture a bunch of images and take notes, write an article about it, post it about it on social media. So it's a great exposure for the destination marketer, but it's also a great opportunity for the tour operator or the travel planner to, number one, visit a destination that they haven't been to before, haven't been to lately, but number two, to meet other tour operators, other people that do the same kind of work they do, maybe in a different part of the country, somebody who's not a competitor, who's similarly situated. There's tons of great networking. People, trade stories, talk shop, compare notes, and we even seen people build partnerships to like co-op on tours together. If
For
they say,
sure.
well, I've got 15 in my group, you've got 15 in your group, let's do the tour together. We get some economies of scale. Uh, so that's something that we do. This year we're going to do, we've announced four. We may actually have five FAMs that we do this year in partnership with destination clients around the country. You can find a list of all of them, an always current list at grouptravelleader.com/FAMs. And so there's also a place there to sign up to get notifications when we announce new ones. So you don't necessarily have to keep coming back to that site, once a month to check on what's up. But we're going to have a FAM coming up in March in Louisiana in the capital city region around Baton Rouge. That one is probably full. We usually get many more applications for these than we have spots. So
Right, right.
we encourage people to apply early if it's a place they really want to go. That one's probably full, but it's the form is still up there on the website. So if somebody is just dying to go to Baton Rouge and the surrounding area, then go ahead and fill it out, and maybe we can make it work. And then in April, this is one we're really excited about, especially for your readership. Myrtle Beach is hosting a FAM for student and youth tour operators. So we're specifically going to focus on the student attractions, performance opportunities, hotels, and such around Myrtle Beach that say, we love student groups. We want student groups. You're going to meet the people that handle sales for those hotels for your student groups. So Myrtle Beach is a huge destination for students, performance, sports, all kinds of things. If it is something that your company does, we would love for you to apply for that one. It's in April. I know that's a dicey time, a busy time for student tour operators, but if you can join us like April 6th through 10th, it's going to be an amazing investment of your time. You're going to walk away with a Myrtle Beach itinerary almost ready to go. Just plug and play the stuff that is best for your customers. And you can apply for that at grouptravelleader.com/MB, like Myrtle Beach dash FAM. Or of course, it's also listed there at grouptravelleader.com/FAMs.
Very cool. And going to borrow a strategy from the Gather and Go podcast that I've noticed, which is we will include these links in the show notes. How about we do that?
Perfect. Yeah,
Right?
yeah, I love that. Yeah, and then we have a couple more later in the year. We're going to be in Savannah, Georgia, in the summer, and I'm probably blanking on another one. But we'll probably announce one or two more for the fall as well. So definitely go to that landing page and sign up to get notifications so that you don't miss it when the opportunity comes out. Oh, Kentucky! How did I miss Kentucky? We're going to be taking a group to Kentucky in May. It's kind of a Great Gatsby themed tour. Going to hit Lexington,
Ah,
Louisville, Northern Kentucky area. There's going to be a lot of horse racing, a little bit of bourbon. It's definitely one to check out. So that is also at grouptravelleader.com/FAMs.
Very cool, very cool. So yeah, again, links will be dropped in the show notes here. We definitely encourage you to check those out. And again, it does seem like there is an application process for each of these, so we encourage you to check them out early, often for any of the ones that interest you. Sound like a ton of fun. I might just drop an application myself and just go as an embedded journalist for Group Collect.
Yeah, they are super fun. They're those moments on the road where you kind of have to pinch yourself and say, I can't believe I'm getting paid to do this right now.
Yeah. Now this is work. Is this real life? This has been fantastic. Ryan, anything that you on your mind wanted to ask of Brian before we start to wrap things up here?
Yeah, I know. For those listening, that they don't know, I've just been here lurking, just loving this conversation. I had the really great pleasure of meeting you out at ABA, one of our great association shows, and something we're
Yeah.
going to be out on this edition of Group Collect the podcast is reflections from ABA. Would just love to know if there were a couple of, besides meeting me, of course, a couple of highlights ABA in Philadelphia for you, and kind of your take on that awesome show overall.
Yeah, well, one highlight, I will admit that a coworker and I slipped away for a lunch break and went and did some sightseeing in Philadelphia, and that was super fun. We saw the Liberty Bell and went to the Rocky Steps, and that was fun. I always enjoy Philadelphia. ABA. One of the things I love about it, I mean, number one, it's huge, right? I mean, anybody who is invested in the group market is going to be at ABA. But I also see people coming out and debuting their new stuff. Whatever their big new idea is for the year, they've got it out there. So, there was an exhibitor who had like a giant video wall set up and then massage chairs where they were inviting people to come sit in massage chairs, get a massage, and watch a video about their destination. So that kind of thing is super cool. It's a great opportunity for me to learn what's new at destinations, and not just destinations, but people in all sort of verticals in our industry, insurance and equipment and all that sort of thing. And of course, just meet all kinds of fantastic people, some who I've known for years, some who I'm just meeting for the first time. But I always come back from an event like that super energized and again, really, really grateful to be part of this industry.
No shortage of characters in the group travel industry, right?
Yeah, there was one character walking around the trade show floor dressed like Ben Franklin.
Yeah, we've heard the time traveling and forsaken founding father, Budlington
That's right.
Geisler.
Yeah.
Boy. So no, it was awesome, and I know that everyone on our team that had the privilege of meeting you and all the great industry colleagues there had nothing but kind things to say. So I would like to say on behalf of the Group Collect team here and Group Collect the podcast, thank you so much for being here today, Brian. We really loved learning about you and the group travel leader, and we just know that it's going to continue to provide a ton of value for the folks that use both of our respective organizations. So thank you.
Absolutely. My pleasure to be with you guys.
All right, everybody. Once again, that was our very special guest, Mr. Brian Jewell. We're going to wrap things up for this February episode of Group Collect the podcast. Was there anything else y'all wanted to say to our great listeners out there?
No, thanks so much for listening. Share this with all of your friends and make them listen as well.
On behalf of my colleagues here, Mr. Ryan Kramer and Miss Kathleen Lyles, my name is Eric Young, saying thank you very, very much for listening to Group Collect the podcast, and a reminder to stay cool and collecting.